Thank you, Mr. President. Arturo Morales is well known by citizens of our town and also by many visitors because he provides tours and excursions and so forth to many places, Guanajuato, Tirado, even the pyramids outside Mexico City, and other things. He is not limited to San Miguel Allende, but he's all over. And once you have listened to him, you know that he possesses an awful lot of knowledge about the history of our town and what is happening and so forth. And with his background in the agriculture, it's interesting that he has, I wouldn't say left that, but has continued interesting in the history of what we are doing. And therefore, Arturo is a very special guest when it comes to the topic for today about Dia de los Muertos, which is celebrated in many different ways, sometimes correctly and sometimes incorrectly. And even in the US, there are many places where they celebrate this day, but not always according to what the tradition tells you what to do. So it's going to be interesting to listen to Arturo today about the history and the legends related to Dia de los Muertos. Please help me welcoming Arturo Morales.
Thank you very much for the invitation to this great club. I appreciate always when I am here, just try to share the passion from Mexico since San Miguel de Allende. So today, today I will prepare a presentation just with the idea to have first more acknowledgement about the context of Mexico in general terms. Mexico, it is actually a country with more than 7,000 of history. We have an evolution of just in San Miguel of 25 centuries of evolution since the agriculture to our days. So I will pass the presentation with the idea to have more background about that. First thing, very important, to me is understand the context that we are. So the context, it is part of the most important to understand the past. It's very easy sometimes to do a judgment from the past since our times. No, it's more easy. Everything happened. But the idea is try to understand what happened just in the past, and the idea is try to invite you just to go into the evolution of the past, not only in time, at the same time in the space. Okay? So Mexico, it is actually a big country with many complex situations, but the most important is try to understand that everything happened in this society in time, space, and 5 circumstances. 2 circumstances are very popular by the tourists, that are the cultural circumstances and the ecological or natural circumstances. But there are another that are the political, social, economical. This is just to understand better way what happened in our context. First, we will check the time. Before the Spaniards arrived to Mexico, we have a complex society or pre-Hispanic people. We want named Mesoamerican people, because were people around, when Hernán Cortés arrived here, were people around 25 million of people that lived in Mesoamerica, more or less from San Miguel de Allende until Nicaragua, more or less, and from Puerto Vallarta to Tuxpan, Veracruz, to the Pacific, to the Gulf Coast. in different ages. In the pre-classic ages, we have the Chupicuaros. The Chupicuaros, the Chupicuaro, were people that live here in the area of San Miguel de Allende 500 before Christ until 10,000 years after Christ, more or less 100 years after Christ. After that, we have the Proto-Toltecs. They founded archaeological sites like Cañada de la Virgen, that probably some of you know. They development 500 years after Christ until 1100. And just the Spaniards meet the local Mesoamerican ethnic group, not tribes, ethnic groups, named Chichimecas, that is a generic name. Just in San Miguel de Allende live between more than 15 ethnic groups. Here live the Pames, Caxcanes, Copuses, Guamares, no? Just in the area. So after that, I want to check with you the space. In the space of Mesoamerica, we have this big extension. All the Pacific coast with the mountain area, the West Sierra Madre, or the West Mountain Range, with many volcanoes. Actually, in Mexico, we have 9 volcanoes active in the country. Some of those are in this area. In the Gulf Coast, we have the East Mountain Range. And just at the center, we have San Miguel de Allende. Probably you can see the bay of Bahía de Banderas or Puerto Vallarta in the Pacific coast. It is in this area. And San Miguel is just at middle of the continent. This blue line is Laja River, the main river that we have here. No? So San Miguel always was in the frontier between Aridoamerica, from here to Texas, New Mexico, and Arizona, and Mesoamerica from here until Panama. Another map check with us different big areas to understand the old Mesoamerica, with more than, in some places, that Oaxaca, that Mexico City, in some places with more than 7,000 years that the apparition of the agriculture. In those years, the early governments were priests, and the priest development watching the universe, they created something similar to our beliefs in religion. In reality, they believe in the cosmovision. They have a vision of the existence following the order or disorder of the astros. And they expressed that kind of vision in something similar that the perception that we have around religion is not exactly in our terms. For example, they believe in the polarity. They believe in the duality. Before that, when the Spaniards arrived here, this was the territory of New Spain 400 years ago. All the area in green, Filipinas, the Caribbean islands, the area of the Guyanas, all this area were part of Spain, of the Kingdom of Spain, and in many ways of the New Spain Viceroy Regency. This map, it is from the 17th century. For that reason, in some areas of United States, actually, we have for sure the influence of many traditions of the Mexico, or for sure in Central America, okay? Because for many, many years, we have a part of a political system. Just to have another background about our context, Carl Jung sometimes tells the early priests in the primitive civilization development, they used the myth and the ritual just to try to get reunited the mass, the community, the people. Through the time, a famous anthropologist from the United States, Olympic game champion, Joseph Campbell, used the same technique just to create, for example, the epic movie of the Star Wars, no? Myth, rituals, and in this way reunited all the people. The Day of the Day, for sure it is a myth, but at the same time, for sure it is a ritual. From a complex country, Mexico, that had long heritage since the pre-Hispanic Mesoamerican people, no? In more, just in San Miguel, than 25 centuries. And for that reason, through the time, these complex myth and rituals we can enjoy now. And the idea today is give you some keys to enjoy more this experience. No? It's not necessary to understand everything. The most important is just to live and just to be there, part of the community, following this sketch of Joseph Campbell or Carl Jung about be there, part of the rituals. Just try to understand a little more the myths, and in this way be part of this religious process in the community. Okay, let me give you this last sketch before going directly to the Day of the Dead ritual. This is a complex sketch. Background, you can see from Teotihuacan, close to Mexico City, and stone sculpted 1,800 years ago. It is a flower of 4 petals, like a vertical cross, and at center. In reality, this is the symbol of the existence. The meaning it is, you are the most important living being in the universe. You are at center, okay? And you have reference upper you, upper ground kingdom with the eagles, with the sunlight, no? You have another reference in the petal below of us that this is the underground kingdom, another paradise with the water springs, blooming flowers, singing birds, with the moon, with the female part of the polarity, the humidity, the fertility, no? Another paradise, okay? And you have another reference to the left, to the right, and you at center. At the same time, your couple is the most important couple in the universe because it's your couple at center. It's the same scale for your couple or for your community. What is the most important Rotary Club? Actually, this, because we are living this experience in this Rotary Club. This is the meaning of this flower. If we add a vertical cross in red, we have the most important dramatic solar phenomena that we have through the year, the equinoxes and the solstice, no? And if we add an inclinated cross, like in the blue cross here, we will have some intermediate parts of the agricultural seasons through the year. In general terms, I put only 8 of the most popular festivals that we have in San Miguel de Allende and in all Mesoamerica, all those around the agriculture. If you look here, for example, close to the equinox of spring, we have the Master of the Conquest here. It's the moment that the people put the seeds on ground to produce the food, the agriculture. We have the Holy Week too. At middle, between the equinox and the solstice, we have the first cleaning of the weeks, no? And this is the day of the Holy Cross, May 3, or San Isidrus the farmer, May 15. And in this way, we can pass to the day of the most bigger rainy season, San John the Baptist, close to the solstice of summer. And the day of the harvest, it is San Michael Archangel, for example, no? And 41 years after that, between the equinox of fall and the solstice of winter, we have the Day of the Dead. Just in the moment that the dead leaves, the dead plants produce life through natural fertilizer, the ground. So it's a special kind of festival that before the Jesus Christ was born, with all my respect, in Mesoamerica, we commemorated, or they commemorated those dates around the agriculture, okay? Because it is another part of the solar season. After that, we will have Guadalupe Virgin, Christmas, 40 days by a Jewish tradition, no? 40 days after Christmas, the purification, Mary Virgin present the baby to the Solomon Temple in Jerusalem, and we have the Candlestick Festival that is very popular in San Miguel too, and is the cleaning of the seeds before put again the next year in another cycle. No? So you can see in this calendar that in reality the vision of the natural phenomena translate to rituals and myths. No? And the Day of the Dead is part of those festivals. In San Miguel, we are very shy. For that reason, our festivals are only 51 weekends. between 52 per year, because we are very shy. And because we are very shy, our popular festivals are only 3 days and 2 nights. No? Because the first day we wake the soul of the main saint, no? The main master. The second day is the main festival, and the last day just to say goodbye. No? We are very, very educated, no? Good manners to the festivals. So probably now you can understand a little more why in San Miguel we are so shy for the popular festivals, okay? Okay, so with this sketch, the pre-Hispanic people believe that when the people die, they have 2 opportunities to go into the paradise. One opportunity going to the upper ground paradise, crossing 13 levels. You can see sometimes in the codex, the early Europeans cannot understand those bloody margins, no? But in reality, the indigenous try to transcribe the process between this life and the other life. To the upper ground paradise, 13 levels, or to the underground paradise, 9 levels, just to get to the paradise. No? This is another imaging from another codex. I try to tell you that happen, things happen in all Mesoamerica, okay? It's a codex that transmits the procession through a kingdom of the dead people, no? But in another paradise. In this way, we start to have like a common thing, the skeletons and the skulls, like part of all myths and rituals before the Spaniard arrived here, okay? Through the years, we can recognize it actually with the science. This is the Tlalocan, or the paradise underground. This mural painting, it is in Teotihuacan. This was painted 1,700 years ago. It is a water spring, and you can see happy people in a procession. Those are the levels go to the underground paradise. And just at bottom, a paradise with probably hot springs or water springs, singing, dancing, no? Between butterflies, birds, blooming flowers, a paradise. Another conception, non-terrorific conception, okay? That happened here 1,700 years ago in Mesoamerica. It is another point of view of the life. In Europe, this is a mural, a paint from Bosch, no? The Flanders painter, and anyway, he had another view of the underground, for example, totally different, more terrorific. And this is part of 2 points of view about the other life that happened, one in Mesoamerica, another in Europe. And I try to illustrate with those images that when the Spaniards arrived here, the new Mexican people had 2 cultural columns totally different. One from Mesoamerica, big one, with more than, just in San Miguel, with more than 2,000 years of cultural heritage, and another from Europe with the Catholic Spaniard, but at the same time, they had the heritage of the Jewish, Moorish, Greek, Latins, and many, many other people and cultural expression. And all those were together here. Through many, many years, well, those are actually new images, including with the movies, with the Netflix, no? Now the dead is associated with that kind of symbols, okay? All those things are in the imaginary, in the conception of the symbols in the 21st century. And all those are feeding the actually contemporary traditions. So in the past, the Day of the Dead was more than a festival, was a commemoration. But we commemorated that our parents were in better terms in the other life, because they live in a paradise in the conception of the Mesoamerican people. It's not necessarily a festival, it's not necessarily a party, but it is a glad commemoration. It's a nice commemoration. So we have in the altar pieces several several tools, several elements, depending if you are in a rural area or you are in an urban area, no? And in this way, depend how so mestizo are you, or how so European are you, or how so indigenous are you, just to add some elements or keep out another element to your friend, no? Those are very, very important things. At the end, for sure, in the 21st century, this commemoration, it is mestiza. It is a mix, no, between many, many cultural roots and cultural expressions. For example, in traditional way, we put 3 steps: the underground kingdom, a medium kingdom, our level, and the upper ground kingdom. 3 steps was a tradition in some of the altar pieces. Another start to put on the ground another decorations with ashes, with several things. After, if we have time, I can explain more about that. But I try to tell you that depend what are your roots, you will put some kind of elements in your friends. All those are welcome. All those are welcome, because at the end, the idea is try to commemorate the dead that were close to us and still in their spirit with us, no? We have another kind of elements that are very traditional, like the alfeñiques. Alfeñiques means something like a weak thing, no? The alfeñique is from sugar, it's so fragile, and for that reason, they make with sugar that kind of sculptures. And at the same time, we have with the syncretisms, the mix with the Catholic traditions and the pre-Hispanics, the Catholics had 2 days to commemorate the Day of the Dead. The indigenous used 2 months, 40 days. Each month of the indigenous were 20 days, 40 days commemorating. Well, we are shy actually, no? And for the reason only 2 days. 1 day for the young juvenile dead, and for the reason we prepare the altar piece with food for juvenile or children. No chile, no tequila, not mezcal, not cigarettes, no? And sugar candy figures like those ones. So those are part from the first day altar piece, okay? And there are another expression of those ones. We can put the name of the relative dead that we are commemorating. And this is another sugar tradition, the bread. You can see the skull at center and the bones like an X, not only the pirates, no? This is a mixed tradition. The bread came with the Europeans. This is another kind of commemorated bread here. And this is a different kind of altar piece. In this case, they put 9 levels, just following the Chichimeca tradition, just to go in 9 levels underground, okay? And now they add the flowers and the lights, because we have communication in theory, in the rituals, with our souls, or with the souls of our relatives, through the fragrance of the flowers and through the lights. For that reason are important too. And if you are preparing for children's sweet atole, sweet tamales, and for the adults, we can use a big altar piece. Those photographs were from a school that I had with my ex-wife, and we commemorated the altar piece, the Day of the Dead, creating a monumental altar piece. And the most important in the altar piece is not at the same way the altar piece. The most important it is the creation of community, making something, no? And you can see that the altar piece is big. There are more people participating, making community, no? This man, for example, was from Czech Republic, is from Czech Republic, a Catholic nun, young people, and it's a nice way to make community, making the big altar pieces in several traditions. Very fast, because the time goes on. In the 19th century, we have an Escher, Guadalupe Posada, and created a critics to the dictator Porfirio Diaz through this skeleton. And he invented this skeleton of a girl, very elegant, but anyway, skeleton, no? And we tell in Mexico, doesn't matter what is your customer, anyway, remember that you will finish in this way, no? So, the Day of the Dead, they made poems and critiques about those elegant people, no? Just telling, don't be so proud because suddenly you will be there like everybody underground. Through the time, he created another allegories. Guadalupe Posada was the name of the agent. This is the skeleton of Don Quixote and Rocinante, riding and fighting against the bad whales in the planet, no? Or jokes like those ones, no? The revolutionary people, you can see some of those with the Jacobin cap of the revolution, uh, going now with the modern bicycles, trying to promote a new revolution in the times of our dictator Porfirio Diaz. And in this way, we finish with Diego Rivera in the 20th century in a famous mural that he painted in Mexico City. And he created this image of he like a teenager, his nanny Frida, and his mother, the Katrina. Katrine means elegant. Katrina, elegant female. So his mother, it is the elegant female skeleton, no? You can see with an skeleton of Quetzalcoatl, another master of the pre-Hispanic tradition. So through the years, the people continue in San Miguel making the ofrendas, flowers, tamales, dishes. This is the entrance of the Pantheon in San Miguel de Allende. This is another small offrand, doesn't matter the size. The most important is that you participate in doing the offrand, no? In the tradition. And I try to go in fast just to those images. Again, the mural. And through the years, 20 years ago, more or less, some people start to make living Catrinas over the mural of Diego Rivera and start the tradition to customer like Catrinas, no? In San Miguel de Allende, you can recognize this image from Los Locos. So to us is commune in another festival, remember the many festivals that we have through the years, just use the costume just to make in the anonymatus some rituals of being collected with some religious processions, no? And more or less 15 years ago, the Cházaro family from Labradores, probably some of you know, really start the parade of the Catrinas and Catrines. Through the time, 10 years ago, Rosewood Hotel started to sponsor the makeover of some of those and start the tradition of all those. Is right, is not right? In my opinion, San Miguel is an open city. San Miguel tried to commemorate and try to respect the traditions, but at the same time is part of a trend of many cultural expressions, no? So in my opinion, it's part of the celebration more than the commemoration. Anyway, both the celebration and the commemoration can live together, no? If we respect their ambits, their places of all those, no? So this is part of the party actually. This is part of the celebration, no? Now this is very local expression. The big mojigangas, but now like skeletons, no? This is only in San Miguel de Allende, no? And it's part of the local expression of this celebration, no? And just to finish, actually the idea is going through the 1st of November, 2nd of November, to the public spaces in San Miguel to commemorate those places. There are another houses, hotels, that including going to expressing the art, this kind of celebration. This is the Hotel Santuario. It is in Terraplén and Aldama Street. He's Jose Luis Arias, a painter here in San Miguel, was born in Sinaloa, but expressed in this mural And in this altarpiece, this is a new altarpiece. You can see it's from adults, no? Because this is full of spiritual waters, tequila, something like this. And here Jose Luis expressed again that kind of procession. And just like something unique in San Miguel, in November 2nd, we opened, or the priests in the main parish church opened the crypts. And you can recognize it, another kind of commemoration underground. There are a president of the Republic lying inside, no? So it could be there. The last two slides. So just to finish, respect the tradition is very important. So the idea is try only to check the difference between commemoration, it is more intimated space, no? And the celebration will be there in the public spaces, no? All those could live together, all those welcome, all those are important if you participate in them, because in this way you are part of the community of San Miguel de Allende. And if you want to go into the deep Mexico, I invite you just to go into the cemeteries. Actually, for the COVID, it's not possible to spend the night inside, but in reality, if you go into the big commemoration, try to go into the rural areas, to the cemeteries, and just live between the local people around this commemoration. So thank you for your time. And I guess that you have now more keys to enjoy this celebration. And if you have some question, I am here. I don't know if we have time, but thank you to this place.
Thank you. All right, I think we have some questions here in the room. Gary?
What is the significance of the marigolds?
The miracles is something new, 20th century. The miracle was used by the pre-Hispanic people just to represent the master of the night. And the master of the night, his name was Tezcatlipoca or Xolotl. The ethnic groups in San Miguel were more advocation to the night. We commemorated in San Miguel de Allende more Tezcatlipoca and Xolotl. And if you remember, the crosses in the festival of San Michael Archangel have sometimes a circle and sometimes with obsidian mirror. The mirror represents the mystery of the night. You can reflect of you in the mirror, but you know that you are not this imagine. It's something like these mystic, magical things about the night. So we put, by the first time, the mirror just to tell we are Chichimecas, we are from the north. The opposite way are Quetzalcoatl. Quetzalcoatl is more by the Aztecs in Mexico City. We are Tezcatlipoca, Xolotl. But through the times, with the fantasy of the 19th century, some people put the mirror just to check if you are with a living being, if Diego and me are in front and not with a mirror, and I am looking only myself, and I don't look the projection of Diego, probably Diego is not in this world, came from another world, and in this way I know, welcome Diego to the party, but I know that Diego is from another situation level. No? It's in this way, two expressions for the miracle. Thank you. You're welcome.
Arturo, I have a couple of questions. First of all, the Day of the Dead celebration here begins October 31st and runs through November 2nd, right?
Well, we have in all the festivals, remember, 3 days, 2 nights, our popular festivals. But in November 1st and 2nd, we have 2 together. So we have 4 quarters per day. In theory, the ghosts, the souls of our relatives arrive, the young souls arrive at 6 o'clock at evening. So you can hear bells at 6 o'clock. And they will be there in front, the altarpiece in your house at midnight. So in this moment, all the altarpiece must be there right, no? And the food. At 6 o'clock at morning, wake up everybody to take the breakfast with them. And at noon, take the big lunch. And after that, 6 o'clock at evening, say goodbye to the juvenile souls and say welcome to the adult souls that back again. So you can hear bells in the tradition, 6 o'clock, noon, 6 o'clock in the morning, or midnight, morning, noon, or 6 o'clock at evening. So depend the time of the day, you can check all those things. And in theory, we replace or we transform the altarpiece twice, one food for the juvenile souls, and the second one with mole, tequila, mezcal, cigarettes, and other things by the adults after 6 o'clock of November 1st.
All right. Do we have any questions in the chat box? I don't think so. No? No? Anybody out there in Zoom land have any questions? I don't see anybody raising their hand out there. Any more questions here in the room? I think that's about it. Arturo, we greatly appreciate you being here, and thank you for the most in-depth explanation of Day of the Dead that I've ever seen. I thought it was very, very informative, so we appreciate that. And to commemorate your presence here today, the Rotary Club of San Miguel de Allende will present to you, here's a certificate, we will email this to you, for your presentation to our club. A donation of 10 polio immunizations will be made in your honor to end the Polio Now campaign. So thank you very much. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Well, we've had a very, very good turnout.
So
Yes, go ahead.
Congratulations for your effort against the polio in all the world, and particularly in Mexico and San Miguel de Allende. Thank you. We appreciate a lot this effort against the polio. Thank you very much.
Very good. I would like to call upon Tom Schneider to talk a little bit about donations. Tom, can you pop in, unmute yourself, and talk just a little bit about that?
Yeah, is this, can everyone hear me?
Yep.
Okay, well, I just wanted to encourage everybody who has a friend that Arturo's done a fantastic job of presenting Day of the Dead like I've never heard it, and it'll be on our website, Rotary SMA Midday, that's with 2 Ds, midday.org. You can go there, and in the previous speakers area, you can see where you can click on that and then go to watch the last week's, and all of them are there. But and I just want to encourage everyone to go to our website. There is a donate button there, and you can select the project. People don't really realize, but we get quite a bit of money from the Rotary Foundation, but we have to match it with our own funds. And if, we bring fantastic speakers here to San Miguel every week, and we depend on donations. We're having we have 60 people here today. 40 of them are online, well, 30 now. And so I want to encourage everyone to bring a friend to our site if you like this, and go by the donate button. Whether it's something about our water cisterns, put over 1,200 water cisterns. We have a big program for dry composting toilets, which really adds to women's safety in the campo, and our beehive project, where we're giving people an ongoing way to make a living. So Rotary does a lot, and we need your support. So please go to the website and donate if you're able to. Thank you.
Appreciate that. And of course, Rotary, our theme this year is we serve to change lives. That's exactly what we do. Your donations help us do that. Your participation, if you're interested in becoming a Rotarian, we'd like to hear from you. And you can email me at skipesseckmedia@gmail.com, or just go to our website and click the link. You'll find us. We appreciate all of you being here. Thank you. Have a great week. If you are getting ready for Day of the Dead, have a great festival coming up, and we'll see everybody, at least our club members, next week for our club assembly. This meeting's adjourned.